joining us all morning long.
One issue with the crowd, though. We have a masked man behind us or a helmeted man. He's got a visor. They would have thrown Odell off the field if he was wearing a visor like this. That is not what they would have done. He's right in my blind spot. I don't even know who he is.
He doesn't talk. He doesn't use any words. He hasn't said anything.
Could that be Baker Mayfield, who's joining us in just under 3 hours? I don't know who's behind me. It makes me feel
It's all going to depend on if he can go 3 hours without talking. Otherwise, not Baker. And I say that in the nicest way possible. He's got a lot to say. Boy, we've got a ton of great guests joining us this morning, and we're going to get to all the Super Bowl matchups in a second. But we're going to start this morning with a cryptic Instagram post from Tom Brady.
Just like he wanted us.
He posted a shot. Give me a second to get it out. He posted a shot either walking in or walking out of the stadium. Brady's football future, this is the shot right there, has been a source of much speculation since he's an impending free agent. Brady says he wants to come back and play football next season. The question is, where? So as you look at this picture, Nick, on the eve of the weekend of the Super Bowl, what does this mean to you?
All right, let's start with what we know from the photograph. We know that's Gillette Stadium. Some internet sleuths have posted great side-by-sides. That bollard on the right is in Gillette Stadium. We know that's Gillette. We also know that Tom Brady is in Miami right now. Gil Brandt, 8 hours ago, tweeted a picture that at the NFL 100 party with Tom and Tom's wonderful wife, Giselle. So Tom, in Miami at the Super Bowl, who has tweeted 3 times in the last 3 weeks, decided, you know, the right time to post, maybe my most cryptic tweet ever, is the Thursday night before the final full media day of Super Bowl week. So the other thing we know is this. Tom wants us talking about this. I don't know if he's walking in or out of the stadium. Now, further internet sleuthing, it does appear he has a watch on his left hand. He wears his watch on his left hand, I should say, which would make it appear he's walking in.
It's a lot of sleuthing.
I don't know if we want to read that much into it. But I know Brady wants us having this conversation. Really, because I think he's continuing to put the pressure on the Patriots. Because the other thing we know is Tom Brady wants to stay a Patriot. In a perfect world, for the right money and the right circumstances, he never wanted to leave. And I think this is him getting another news cycle out of a little panic in Boston. Right before the show started, Brian, I was streaming some local radio in Boston. They are, of course, you think I did a Zapruder film of that picture. You see what they're doing up there. And so it is Tom Brady exerting a little bit more leverage, a little bit more influence, and having a bit of a look at me moment as he's trying to figure out what the next chapter of his football story is going to be.
And I think you're absolutely right. Since 2014, the Patriots have they've won the Super Bowl every other year, right? And so, of course, they're always in the news cycle. The big story this season is this Tom Brady's last season in New England? Is the dynasty over in New England? So it's all been kind of a negative spin for everything in New England. And so, of course, Tom Brady wants to be back in the news because now at this point, they're talking about the 49ers and their whiz kid, Kyle Shanahan, as their offensive coordinator and head coach. And Patrick Mahomes, the NFL has moved on past Tom Brady. And, of course, he wants to be back in the news cycle. And to me, this is the best way to do it. I'm making a statement, but I'm not really saying anything. That's the Tom Brady way. That sounds like exactly what Tom Brady would do.
Doug, you think this was as calculated as these guys seem to think it was?
No.
I didn't think he did.
I do not. I do not think a guy I think it's the Yanni or Laurel of this Super Bowl. Yanni, which was it? Yanni? I think it was both, wasn't it?
It was both.
Right? And then there was the dresses. There was the yellow or the blue. Gold or blue.
There was the swing set or the swinging forward.
So there's a little bit of the Rorschach test in there, too. You see what you want to see. You imagine what you want to imagine. But Greg Olsen left the Carolina Panthers yesterday. That just so happened to happen on the same day. They need a tight end. You can't play in New England if you're a dummy. Like, dude, he's coming back. That's what he's doing. This is his Wolf of Wall Street meme, right? That I'm not going anywhere. I don't think there really is the room for negotiation that he thinks there is or that we think there is. I've talked to people in the league. There's a bunch of people reaching out saying they don't know what he wants to do. That's because he's coming back. Josh McDaniels not leaving. You're not spending 20 years in New England just to go play for the Chargers or go play for the Raiders. That's not happening. This is building up to the announcement that he's coming back.
Okay, but the idea that this was not highly premeditated, it is a black and white staged photograph tweeted the Thursday evening before the Super Bowl while he's in Miami with no caption. for a guy that barely tweets. Of course this was premeditated. It wasn't it wasn't a pocket
for what
tweet.
reason, though? But for what reason? Do I think it was premeditated? Of course. Like, that's a professionally either photoshopped or
I don't think anyone's arguing if it's premeditated. Was it a calculated
negotiation topic, as you believe it is?
Was it a message to the Patriots?
It's the build-up to I'm coming back.
Okay. All right. That's one way.
Do you really
build
think?
up to I'm leaving?
Hold on.
But
The one thing that you're looking for in any negotiation, and this is what Tom Brady is looking forward to, free agency negotiations, is you want leverage. And that's what he's trying to create. He's trying to create a situation where the New England Patriots need to bring him back. And I actually believe that they probably do. But he's trying to provide leverage in this situation with these types of messages and pictures.
That's not leverage. Leverage is offers, years and money.
But you can't get that yet.
Okay, you can. The idea that he has to make a decision really before free agency, right? The Pats can't go bring in other quarterbacks, and he can't really look around. It's not really the way you could do it, right? Like, try that.
I think that's what the Patriots want, and I think this is Brady further saying, you guys are trying to, through media leaks, saying I have a deadline before my actual deadline to make a decision, and this is, I want you guys to hear in Boston today, the fans, their reaction to another sign I might be leaving and the abject panic that will cause.
Okay, so again, you have to give me the logical destination where he could go.
Okay, there's a half dozen that we could argue about.
No, there's not a half dozen. There's two.
Okay, there's the Chargers, there's the Titans,
He's not going to Tennessee.
Okay, well, you can't. Okay, you can ask for logical destinations and then just flippantly say he's not going there. That's fine.
Do you think that's on brand for Tom Brady to go play in Nashville, Tennessee?
No, none of it's on brand for Tom Brady. But you know what's also not on brand for Tom Brady, who's been one of the most selfless, greatest team sport athletes and greatest NFL ambassadors ever? This
hijacking the limelight.
Listen, he's allowed to do whatever he wants. This is a selfish move. You've got two quarterbacks in this football game. One is the next great quarterback of this league. The other, your former understudy. This is their moment. The lead story on this show and all the shows today should be about one of them or both of them. And instead, it's about a guy who hasn't played football in 3 weeks, who's been in 9 of these things. Not because there was a leak, not because there was a report, not because of something outside of his control, because he said, I'm putting this out there. And now maybe this ends up, I had to put it out here because the whole thing's a gag, because this is actually part of a Super Bowl commercial, because this is actually part of a marketing thing. To me, that'll make it even worse. Like, to take the spotlight away. If the first NBA Finals without LeBron in a decade, he, the night before a Game 7, tweets something about a pending free agency decision, he would be annihilated for it, and rightfully so. And Brady has earned so many benefits of the doubt. This is to me, this is more of a me move than we typically see from Tom.
When the Patriots didn't sign Tom Brady to the long contract, and that day he put his house on the market, his trainer did as well. There's a reason for that. Tom Brady doesn't do anything, so of course it's calculated. I just think, in my opinion, he wants to put more of the onus on the Patriots to say, hey, we don't want that guy, opposed to Tom Brady and his camp saying, I don't want to be in New England, because I think it's apparent that he does.
I think the best way to negotiate that way is to go to the Raiders, is to go take his visits as LeBron took his visits. You pointed out he's been selfless. He's been a great leader. He's been fairly egoless in his negotiations. So you build up all of that equity for 20 years, and now on the brink of the Super Bowl, now you have a selfish move? I don't think so. I think this is just generating momentum towards the announcement that he's coming back.
Just very, very quickly, you're totally right. The best way to generate leverage is to make those moves, is to take those visits. The problem is the Patriots are telling anyone that'll listen that we need your decision before you're allowed to take any visits. They are telling him, we need your decision before free agency opens. Now, there might be able to be back channel, tampering type things, but Tom Brady can't go visit with a team, see a facility, meet a coach, meet an owner until the middle of March. Patriots are saying we need your decision for the middle of March, and I don't think Tom Brady's going to abide that. In that regard, I support him 1,000%. Posting this on the day he did, I think, is poor form.
Well, if the goal was to steal the spotlight on the Friday before the Super Bowl,
that's a watch. That's his left hand. He's walking towards the stadium.
It would be a great commercial. I think you're right about that. It would be a great commercial.
All right, let's get back into a little Super Bowl talk with a little say what? Andy Reid is preparing for the biggest game of his life on Sunday, but at the end of the day, Big Red is all about his family. Say what?
Yeah, no, I've got these 9 grandkids. It was worth all the headaches of the other ones, getting them where they're at. But those 9 grandkids are awesome. So they keep you young, and at the same time make you feel old. It's kind of like sweet and sour pork.
Like sweet and sour
Let me
pork.
take something I don't know a ton about and bring it back to something I know a ton about.
The whole football world outside of the Bay Area is rooting for him. Even if you're not rooting for the Chiefs, you're rooting for Andy Reid.
It's true. And it's a
I
great
love the
story.
fact that he brought up his family, because I know Andy Reid, and no one that he loves more than obviously his wife Tammy, all of his kids and the grandkids. That's what he's all about. You see the Papa Bear stance, the feeling of, even with all the old players, they have him as a father figure. He's that guy.
And at least when I was carving, he had his kids as ball boys coming up always around the facility. He just loves being around them all the time.
One of his sons work for him now, D-line coach, so absolutely.
All right, take a break. Coming up here on First Things First, Bills running back and 5-time Pro Bowler Frank Gore will join us.